electrogastrogram signal processing to predict diabetes. We're going to, it's an approach in machine learning. It's a non-invasive electrogastrography itself is a non-invasive method that records the stomach electrical activity, helping access to gastric mobility. As we all know, diabetes affects stomach function, leading to abnormal EGG patterns. EGG, by the time I'm going to be using EGG, but it stands for electrogastrography. The diabetes affect the stomach function, leading to abnormal EGG patterns due to nerve damage, in brackets, what we can call diabetic gastroparesis. Common EGG diabetes abnormalities. We have altered slow wave frequency. This disrupts the digestion of a human body system. And we also have the reduced amplitude, which is also known as weaker stomach contractions. And we also have unstable gastric rhythms, which in many times we can call it like increased variability. And then the limitations of the previous diagnosis, because what we are trying to do is like to predict or like discover patients, type 2 diabetes patients early enough by like using this method. So the limitations for the past method that was using, they were mostly using blood tests, and blood sugar tests are invasive and they don't detect digestive issues. And like what we are suggesting, it's going to be detecting digestive issues. Then we have advantage for this model we are trying to create. AI models can analyze EGG signals, detect diabetes, related gastric dysfunction before symptoms worsen. And so in conclusion, the EGG-based machine learning provides real-time, non-invasive alternative to traditional diabetes screening. Next. So I'll be taking you through the keywords and their meanings. The keywords we are going to be using most in this, our project. We're going to be looking at electrogastrography, like EGG, we had looked at it. It's an non-invasive technique that records electrical activity in the stomach using surface electrodes. And it is used to assess like gastric mobility disorders, in short, like digestive pads, and detect neuromuscular dysfunctions common in diabetes, which the other ones can't do. And another word, we're going to be looking at diabetes prediction using computation models to analyze the EGG and predict diabetes risk levels. And then we'll also have feature extraction, and this is the identifying useful patterns in raw data for improved classification accuracy. Factual dimension, it measures signal complexity and self-similarity, helpful in distinguishing normal versus diabetic EGG signals, as we're going to be seeing down. And then we are also going to have the genetic algorithm, which optimizes the future selection by stimulating natural evolution. And then machine learning itself, like I've been saying, machine learning, it's the AI models trained to detect diabetes from EGG signals using classification algorithms. Then what is our problem statement? We have limitations of our problem statements rotates on the limitations of the traditional diabetes diagnosis. And the current method, diabetes is typically diagnosed using like fasting blood sugar, which is the FBS, HbA1c tests, and glucose tolerance levels. And what challenges do we face when you're using this? It's invasiveness. It requires blood samples, which may be uncomfortable for some patients, and then the inability to detect early complications. Like we've said, ours are going to be detecting early stages, but the traditional tests do not capture psychological changes such as gastric mobility dysfunctions, which is common in diabetes. Then no continuous monitoring. blood tests provide snapshots recording rather than long-term physiology tracking. Then why do we want to use the EGG-based detection? We all know, okay, not all know, but the stomach electrical activity is linked to diabetes. So diabetic patients often suffer from automatic neurotherapy, which affects stomach contractions. And what causes this? The altered gastric slow wave frequency, which is like mostly from 2.6 to 3.7 CPM in healthy individuals, and also the reduced EGG amplitude indicating weak stomach contractions, and also we have increased signal irregularities, suggesting impaired digestion. Next. What is the objective of our study? We want to develop a machine learning model for diabetes prediction. So as we've seen, the current methods focus on blood glucose, and then they ignore the physical changes. But what we are trying to create, we want to provide an non-invasive approach to detect diabetes. Then extract level features from like EGG signals are complex and high dimensional. Then apply genetic algorithms for feature selection. As you're going to see down, like not all features extracted contribute to diabetes classification. So this one helps to select the most informative features while eliminating redundant. And then train and evaluate classification models. The multiple machine learning models will be trained and tested, and our goal is to achieve high accuracy and robustness in diabetes predictions using EGG signals. And our proposed methodology, I'm going to list them. We'll have data acquisitions, like we're going to have like patients, participants. We are going to use extract from like the health one, the non-health ones, then choose. Then pre-processing, we're going to like contain from these we've chosen which one is which. Then feature extractions. Here we have like to categorize what we've extracted. Then feature selection, here we're going to use a genetic algorithm and which reduces the risk of overfitting, improves computation, and then we have classification. The selected features are trained to multiple machine level. And next. Then data acquisition and collection. Remember, we have all subjects. Some are healthy, others are not. So the recording system, 3 surface electrodes placed on the upper abdomen to record the stomach activity. Then the duration will be using 10 minutes per recording per subject. Then storage, the EGG signals are saved as time series. And the challenges in this data collection could be signal contamination from respiration, variability of gastric electrical activity between individuals, then the need for careful electrode placement to ensure high quality recordings. Then the impact, it provides rich data set to analyze gastric dysfunction, enables development of the AI. That's all I had for you. Let my colleague continue from there.
Yeah, so I'm going to pick up this line actually. I'm going to pick up from where she has left, and we start from feature extraction. So as we were talking about the steps, we extract the features from the method that we're going to use. Then the goal is to convert EGG signals into numerical distribution for classification. Types of feature extraction: there is time domain, which measures the overall signal characteristics. Then frequency domain, then which captures the signal energy distribution, as we're going to see out in the output of the EVA. And then factual separation, measure the complexity of the wave. And then feature selection. At the end of the feature extraction, we need to select the feature, the most efficient and the most useful features. Yeah. not all features contribute equally. So some will be more relevant than others. So we identified 20 most useful. We're going to use those. Eliminating redundancy, that's the point. Then improving model efficiency, that's another point for us choosing a few of the many features we extracted. So the impact is to reduce the computational cost and improve classification accuracy. So yeah, we're going to look at the visualizations, what we get from the database after learning the dataset and understanding what it means. So from the features we selected, we're going to see the correlation between glucose levels and then efficiency. So here, this is one of the graphs, this is one of the diagrams that show EGG frequency against glucose levels. This analyzes whether the glucose levels affect EGG frequency. For healthy individuals, they are more stable EGG frequencies, and for diabetic, the variations are mainly indicating motility issues. So the second one we're going to talk about is glucose distribution versus diabetes, glucose level distribution by diabetes status. So this compares the glucose levels in diabetic versus non-diabetic patients. Diabetic patients have significantly higher levels of higher glucose levels. Yeah. Then we're going to look at another one is EGG amplitude variation across the patients. They are healthy. This will look at EGG amplitude against the patient for each patient. So healthy subjects have consistent EGG amplitude. Diabetic patients have more fluctuating and suggesting disrupted stomach contractions. This is the heat map. The next diagram is the heat map. This shows the feature correlation. All the features that we selected are here, and we're going to see the correlation between all of them to see which are more useful than the others. High correlation between glucose and diabetes status confirms a strong predictive power. So mainly these are the most affecting features. Yeah. So next we're going to look at the feature correlation with diabetes status. So this is the correlation coefficients against the what features. It highlights the top predictive features. Glucose and spectral entropy have highest importance. Yeah. So the other is EGG amplitude distribution by diabetes status. This visualization assesses the spread and differences in EGG amplitude between the diabetic and the non-diabetic groups. So the next one is glucose level density and diabetes status. This is the density of glucose against the glucose levels. This confirms glucose as a strong diabetes indicator. Then the other one is EGG frequency distribution. This is the frequency against the EGG. This is the frequency against EGG frequency. Diabetic subjects have wider frequency ranges supporting its use in classification. Then you have diabetes prevalence in the data set. So we need to see what percentage in the data set are healthy and unknown. The count plot shows that the data set's class distribution ensure a balanced prevalence in bias and prediction. So when you train the model to relative the same data of healthy and diabetic, the model won't train on basically only mostly on healthy or mostly on diabetic. So it will have the feel of both and not be biased on one side. So the next one is the amplitude distribution. It shows the overall distribution of glucose levels across participants, helping to detect outliers and common trends. So the next one is distribution of glucose levels by diabetes status. Glucose levels over diabetes status. The violent plot of the glucose level distribution shows the distribution of glucose capturing both range and density. So the other one is the pair plot. This is the density estimation plot evaluates whether the EGG amplitude is a distinguishing feature between diabetic and non-diabetic. So it tells you whether the EGG amplitude actually distinguishes between the diabetic and non-diabetic. So Second, lastly, we have the ECG frequency and ECG amplitude. So this is the ECG amplitude against the frequency. Then the next one, we have ECG amplitude density by diabetes status. This investigates the interaction between frequency and amplitude ECG signals. If clear patterns emerge, these variables together may enhance the classification models. Thank you very much, and this was our presentation. Yeah.